So if I'm speaking to a group of people and I've been asked to come in and give the gospel, it's like, hey, we're going to have an event or whatever, and we want you to share the gospel. I always start with creation. And Eric's actually been a part of this at Hidden in a Crowd, but I'll have a person represent God the Father and a person represent Jesus and then mankind, and I start them off in the garden. And I talk about how we were created for relationship. And so I'll have the person who stands as man, and then I'll have the person representing Jesus, the person representing God the Father, put their arm around them and talking about the cool of the day when God would come down. And I talk about like that. And I was like, this is what we were created for, this moment. And so then I talk about how Adam and Eve sinned. So God comes down to the cool of the day. And then physically I have God like turn his back, Jesus would turn his back on man. Man's kicked out of the garden. And then God sends Jesus to man. Jesus takes on man's sin. He dies. And people say that's the gospel. No. The death of Jesus is not the gospel. The death and resurrection of Jesus is the gospel. Why? Because that resurrection is conquering sin and death. But that's not even the purpose. And so then I have this person bring man back to the Father, put the arms around him again. Well, I couldn't look at him before because of a sin. No, I paid for his sin through the resurrection. And that is the ultimate purpose of the gospel. So it's like this very concise story. And I think it's exactly what you're saying, that the efficacy of the gospel is not so much found in, Billy Graham, after he died, I remember this clip in New York City, he was speaking in Madison Square Garden, and he said, every problem of your life can be taken care of before you leave the garden today. Well, it depends what you mean by that. Because there really is only one problem. We're not reconciled to God. But sometimes I think pastors, leaders, and even an individual goes, well, man, my marriage is falling apart. If I pray this prayer, is that going to take care of my marriage? And hopefully that's not what Billy Graham meant. And I think it's what some pastors mean. I think it's what you're speaking to, that the gospel's attractiveness is not necessarily its ability to fix your marriage, fix your wallet, fix whatever's going on, but it fixes your relationship with God. And that was the primary brokenness.